agree with Paul and the gang that this seems pretty heavy favored for Liquid. They have Bulba now as their coach. They seem to be, right back in the groove of things. Do you think it's going to be a 2-0 by them as well?
Group stage, I would say Liquid. If we didn't have all this stuff happen, but I think Fnatic are actually in a really good place. First matchup, they were versus Escape. Second matchup, they were versus Alliance. I think those were probably the two best opponents for them, and they're on the upswing.
All right, we do actually have a draft that seems to be well underway here, as we have Fnatic with Shadow Demon and Luna to pair with it at the start. And for Team Liquid, it's a Sand King and a Kunkka Blitz. Obviously, we know you have some ties with Liquid here. Do you know at all, just based on the morale of the team, are they feeling good, uplifted, that they're just on a hot streak right here? And also maybe a bit about their approach to Fnatic, rather.
I don't personally know how they are, but it seems like there's a little bit more chemistry. After the group stage games, whenever they would pan to the camera, it felt like there was some awkwardness in the room and unresolved things. And the one downside for Liquid, especially when it came to the group stage, is their rigidity. They think, if we're going to do this, we're going to go all the way with it. And I was talking to Matt the other day about Liquid as a team and just what happened at Manila, and he said, OG were very prepared for Liquid because Liquid is kind of like MVP Phoenix in that regard. Even though you see a different style out of Liquid once in a while, for the most part, they like to fit that mold, and that's the downside for them, and that's where Fnatic can strike, because Fnatic are a lot more unpredictable here. Because when you have Mushi as a drafter, he's willing to play everything.
10 seconds
you're
remaining.
a little bit already getting a case for what you just said, as well as Liquid. They played the same thing again, something they used a lot against Newbie there in the previous series. It is a similar style though, and I do like it against the Shadow Demon Luna, because you know a strong push is going to be imminent, and SD Kunkka are really good at defending towers. So we'll see what they want to do here as they go into the second pick phase.
Usually when we see Fnatic pick up the Luna, it's often versus the Faceless Void. I'm surprised that they went for it in the first phase. There are many other partners with the Shadow Demon, Anti-Mage, like we saw yesterday, Luna, Terrorblade, Morphling, PL even is like okay, but picking up this early is fairly interesting. Maybe they didn't want like a super heavy illusion hero because of the Sand King.
Radiant team pick.
It's interesting that you mentioned it as well, the Void not being picked yet by either team. I think Fnatic will go for it here. It's such a strong hero, even though it gives Rubik quite a few good spells to steal, very easily so. I still think it just pairs up nicely with the Luna ulti.
I don't know how much I like this support duo, the Kunkka and the Rubik. That feels like you're not going to deal enough reliable damage, and it's heavily predicated into getting really good team fights off with your Sand King. Like, you're gonna essentially just set up for Epicenter with this Kunkka. And right now, what Fnatic have is something hyper aggressive. The Shadow Demon so far for me has been the hero of the tournament. We saw what it could do yesterday against Mega Creeps with the Faceless Void. Whatever core you have, it just turns it so strong, and you automatically get a sieging potential out of it.
Are they gonna push with this, the Luna Undying? They mastered two other cores. The Liquid is picked Nagasaki. Is it a setup for...
Oh, they're definitely gonna pressure. They're gonna pressure hard.
5 seconds
that's where
remaining.
Undying really shines as well. He brings a stain to your team, and Kunkka and even Sand King, they're really gonna struggle when their strength gets removed by Undying. It's hard to keep fighting into.
Yeah, Pugna is actually a really good hero versus Sand King because of the ward. You can't epi blink if the ward is down, and I don't know, for some reason it seems like it's...
Yeah, Pugna and Undying together used to be a very popular duo too.
Yeah. At the same time, though, Nagasaki is really good at killing these building spells. Like you sleep, you kill Tombstone, you kill the Nether Ward, no problem there. So but I don't know. It just seems like a strange draft. We haven't really seen Undying used too much aside from Kuroki himself.
I think we have a clear dichotomy in drafts right now, though. I think Fnatic look to push pace as fast as you possibly can, get into these team fights, try to push out towers as fast as you can, and secure objectives. Whereas for Liquid, I think they're going to try to follow the same model that they did against Navi in that best of one, where they push to the later phases of the game. Yesterday, I think Newbie taught them just how far Naga Siren can take you.
10 seconds remaining.
But at the same time, I feel SD is so good against the Naga Siren. As soon as Naga gets their Radiance completed, if you're a supporter on Fnatic, you're just gonna be like, okay, then I can also farm now, because now I have Radiant Solutions at my will. Whenever I want to, they'll be on every lane, I'll just take one. And I feel that they have heroes to deal with the Naga here. They still need to complete their high ground siege. Sure, the Tombstone down, the Luna Illusions is great for just sieging high ground, but I wonder what that last mechanic is going to be that they add in.
Yeah. They also have two BKB heroes. I think that's really important versus the lineup, or else you'll get Song into like this huge combo from Kunkka and Sand King. Luna and Sword are just natural BKB carriers, and it's also just really good versus the rest of their lineup. They don't really have that much physical damage on the side of Liquid in case it goes late.
And one thing we haven't mentioned, by the way, the Rubik pick after such an early reveal on the Luna is just so strong. The Eclipse is very easy to steal, and it's ultra powerful for Rubik to take.
I think the only thing about this Naga Siren is I think Fnatic's lineup, they don't want to send heroes back to defend towers. And if you look at the two supports from Fnatic, they don't really deal very easily with the side lanes being pushed in. So when it comes to just overall map pressure, I think Liquid is looking okay, but when it comes to the physical team fights, I think Fnatic right now are looking very strong.
It's pretty greedy though. Ember, Luna, and Slaughter, all these heroes need
10 seconds remaining.
A lot, actually.
Because the impression was sounding like, from what you guys were giving with the
5
first part of the
seconds
draft
remaining.
Fnatic, is that they might ramp up the speed and look to go fast. Something that's typically pretty
Reserve
good against the
time.
Naga. But now, as you mentioned, a bit greedy here. Does this slow things down and now they just rely more on just their overall team fight and hope that they can segue that momentum into a strong late game?
It does slow things down a little bit, and it's curious when you have Undying to try and take that approach. I guess one thing they really have on Fnatic though, if they ever win a team fight, they take a very fast Roche. They have the Slardar, the Undying ulti, and then the damage from Luna and Ember Spirit is just fine for killing off Roche with those debuffs.
Yeah.
I think they push towers very quickly too. The high ground sieging game for them is going to be very easy and relatively safe. You just send the Shadow Demon in with the Luna, constantly just make illusions out. You can take down the tower very fast. Naga Siren is a hero that doesn't want to defend that early on. So I think Fnatic, as long as their laning phase is somewhat stable, they're going to go relatively unchecked there.
And I think Ember was a smart pick against Naga in a way, because when she songs and tries to combo, you can always jump away, right? Or slide a fist even. So it's very hard to instant combo on an Ember Spirit. There it is, the Fada Prophet.
Thought of profits round things out here for Liquid. Gentlemen, final thoughts on these drafts or predictions?
I like Liquid's a little bit more. It's more stable, has a little bit more team fight, and not as greedy as Fnatic's.
I actually think this game won. I do like Fnatic's draft a lot, and I think they're going to be able to push pace. I think their dual lanes are going to be a little bit too much for Liquid to handle.
Yeah, I'm on Fnatic's side as well. I believe it's a powerful draft that they have. So I like it.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's go ahead and throw it over to our hypecasters now. We got Draskell and OD Pixel.
Thank you very much, Dakota. Indeed, Liquid
10
versus
seconds remaining.
Fnatic, the second series of the day here. The draft has been complete. And Andy, what do you reckon? I mean, obviously coming into this matchup, we heard from the first panel saying that Liquid, they were the stronger
Prepare for
side. The
battle.
draft, they like Fnatic's.
I mean, it was 1 for 2, right? Fnatic in favor on the panel, so I'm gonna make things even. I'm gonna say I'm liking Liquid a little bit more. We saw the potency of the Kunkka Sand King offlane yesterday when they were playing against Newbie, and I think they're gonna have a repeat success here.
Overall, I mean, again, just to pinpoint some of the player hero combinations we've got from both teams, especially when you look at Liquid, this is Liquid all over. They're absolutely in their comfort zone. And then Fnatic, with this combo here, the ST Luna that we've seen, it seems more times than not being banned out, being taken away from teams. As soon as an ST's been picked up, the Luna's been banned. They get it through the draft this time. The question is it really as strong as a lot of teams seem to value?
I think it's just because of the early 5-man potential that it gives you, so you have a lot of flexibility. You can go for tower pushes early, or you can decide to take it super late with the Shadow Demon.
30 seconds to
High ground
battle.
siege is always going to be great when you have those bouncing glaives in the tower and whatnot. It does become a bit overwhelming at some point, but Liquid, they have a tremendous amount of wave clear with the Sand King, the Naga Siren, Death Prophet, even Kunkka. We saw Kuro get completely out of control in terms of farm the other day on that hero as well. So I don't think that it's really going to be a lot about anything more than the laning phase for now. Just whoever could really get some kind of advantage at that point, I think will... They both have the potential to kind of snowball the game in some way.
Absolutely. And talking about the
The
way
battle
that Liquid's
begins
got this
for
lineup
good
around the
and
Naga,
all.
we obviously saw the other day when Liquid went up against Newbie, and in a game where they were ahead, but there was a Naga on the other side, it just got to the point where the Naga was so fat, it just won the game. Is that going to be the case for Fnatic here? If they don't manage to get an edge at the start and they do fall behind, the Naga gets the farm, how much of an issue is that going to be for them?
I mean, Naga's always going to be a huge problem if you let it get too much, because there comes a point where, you know, the Ember Spirit can deal with illusions to a varying degree, but the problem is it's just one illusion. It's not a bunch stacked up on top of each other. But Man's going to send like one to the lane, one to middle lane, one to bottom lane, or to the jungle, or wherever, and it's just going to be pushing multiple things at the same time. Now, there's no Shadow Demon on the side of Team Liquid, so it's not going to be pretty much the exact same, but more or less, it will become an issue. And even, like, let's just ignore the Naga time for a second. And they have Epicenter, they have the Death Prophet, obviously with Exorcism. They have Boat to protect the Death Prophet as well. That's one thing that the panelists didn't touch on too much is a lot of times you want to save hero when you have DP, and the Kunkka plus Death Prophet does give her that innate damage reduction, which I think is going to be very important for these team fights. So I think that they have ways to take objectives, their lanes are still strong, they have good late game, and the Naga Siren is something that's going to just passively pressure Fnatic as the game goes on.
What do you think about the choice from Fnatic to obviously kind of end the draft with the Ember Spirit? You know, as the panel was saying, they had this very strong kind of this push-orientated mid-game, you know, able to get active earlier on. And then, is it the fact that they see the Naga, they're a little bit worried that maybe everything's not to go exactly to plan, and they've then got the Ember to fall back on if it goes late, and they need something for anti-push?
Well, Ember is definitely one of the best anti-push heroes, not to mention, you know, you're going to have Shadow Demon plus Luna Illusions. That's why I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this early game, because whoever gets ahead is going to have a lane equilibrium advantage, they're going to start pushing out, they're going to take objectives, and it becomes very difficult from, I think, both of these teams to play from behind. And also, one other key point to take note of is Ohio's blink timing. Like, whenever you see blink offlane heroes, it's always very crucial whenever they get their items so that, you know, Fnatic especially can start getting those kills and taking objectives.
And talking about Ohio up on this top lane against, obviously just the dual lane of Liquid, the fact that Liquid are, once again, running this 2-1-2 formation that they seem to be doing the majority of the time now in TI. Do you imagine Ohio's going to get a decent amount of farm up top, or is Matuma Man on the Naga and obviously the backup from Jerax's Rubik going to be much of an issue for him?
He's not really going to care too much. Slardar has 5 base armor, and he brought a ton of regen to that lane. He started with 2 sets of tangos and a Salve plus a stout shield, so I think he'll be more than okay here. In regards to how much the Sand King is going to get, it's kind of depending right now, because Fnatic, they're doing the full defensive tri-lane. So DJ and 343 are both down here. They're committing a lot to making sure that mind control doesn't quite get off to that start that we've seen him have the other day.
And in that sense, to a point that you can expect that mind control might back up into the jungle, start to get some stacks up and look to get the timing there for the blink relatively soon, or do you think he will try and stay and remain in this lane against Fnatic's tri-lane?
Well, he kind of has to stick around to get experience somewhere, because he started with Caustic at level 1, so if you don't have something to actually be able to farm the jungle with, then obviously you can't go there just yet, and not even having stun means he can't roam either. So he needs to find something, and that's probably just going to be soaking whatever he can.
We can see Liquid there looking for the room, but as he tries to get in, but DJ snags it from him.
Oh, he's stuck.
Oh,
Double
okay.
damage.
I mean, they're actually
empowers
ignoring
me.
mind control. They know that he hasn't got Burrow Strike or such to get out. They want to try for the easier kill, Kuroki, but he walks it off. Vada's actually turned up as well. We'll see if they're able to get a bite. Looks like Kuro was thinking about maybe throwing out a torrent, but didn't quite have the damage control. Mind control still trying to get back to the lane, but the two of them stand there making sure that he can't. And of course, whilst all this is happening, this is just lots of space for the Luna. You know, down on the bottom lane, Mushi, he's getting all the space that he needs at the start.
There's no way that Liquid can touch him for a while. They pretty much just have to ignore the Luna and either just try to get as much as you can on the Rubik during the early game, or maybe even rotate him towards bottom just so like the Sand King can freaking hit level 2. That's really going to be the biggest thing that's holding him back in this, is that he started with Caustic.
Absolutely, just 8 experience on this very sad Sand King at this early stage of the game, but obviously going for the games we saw yesterday in Mind Control, once he is able to pick it up, he can certainly come out with the huge, impressive plays. But it certainly seems that overall, just looking at the lanes across, it feels like Fnatic have found their footing a little bit better here and are coming out with the edge.
It's mainly because they picked the Rubik into the Slardar, so they're not going like full in on trying to zone out the offlaner, so Ohio is going to be getting a ton. I mean, he even goes as far as to finish the full poor man shield, just realizing that Naga and Rubik together have very low kill potential, so as long as he's staying at a good high amount of HP, he should be relatively safe, and that's a huge benefit for Fnatic during the early game, because we did emphasize the importance of the Blink Dagger. So for now, yeah, Fnatic definitely with an edge here.
Absolutely, and when Ohio does hit that Blink Dagger timing, we start to see Fnatic grouping up, going for pushes, looking to take fights. Are Liquid going to be able to hold it off with just the 4 of them, obviously just not requiring Matuma Man so he can continue to farm, or may Matuma Man be forced into a position where he's got to turn up and help the team early on?
When you have a hero like Death Prophet on your team, as long as you have your ultimate available for the pushes, I think you are capable of defending 4 versus 5. It's just really down to making sure that you're communicating well and saying, okay, we're defending this, we're not defending this, because if you start getting picked off and Fnatic are able to walk at your towers with Luna Shadow Demon and you're fighting like, you know, 4v5, 3v5s.
The points in the Crypt Swarm, it's got a Fairy Fire. The one's going to be fine. In fact, coming back towards Vada, there's a rotation from Ohio. If he hits a crush, they could have a chance in this, but Vada just able to get himself back out. Kuroki TP's across to make sure nothing happens. Ohio with a bit of a big movement, but at the same time it was a good movement from Ohio in the sense that Liquid actually had 4 heroes up top looking for a kill on him. So it was a good job that he managed to avoid that movement.
Well, he did have a ward, so...
Yeah, he was ready for it.
The other thing to note here too is Matumbaman has actually made the transition towards jungle. He realizes that Mind Control has had a really, really bad early game. They're going to go on Ohio here, but not nearly enough damage to kill. He's sticking around for a while.
Any damage to face off will burst him down a little bit, but he's fine. And in fact, well, 3-4-3 nearly finishing off Mind Control. Telekinesis with Jarex holds back the Undying. He's got another decay, but already Mind Control with the South, but he's going to be fine. And at the moment, Mind Control's going to look to get some farm from the lane, but Timberman's actually headed over to the jungle.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Just to avoid the fact that Fnatic do have these two heroes at the top. Just want to get himself caught out. But still, as we can see, CS across the board, 37 for 11. Mushi leading at the moment. The mid lane matchup very close between mid 1 and Fada. 24 for 6, 23 for 9.
And you would more or less expect this, you know, once you get a couple more points into Flame Guard. Mid 1 actually opted for the 3rd point in the Searing Chains. It does give you a huge damage bonus going from 3 to 3, but it does mean that he'll be taking a little bit more damage from the harassment of Fada, so needs to be a little bit careful. But yeah, Liquid's still a little bit behind. They do have a Naga Siren though, so most of the time if you're, you know, a few CS behind laning phase, as long as you're not giving away like any big kills, it should still be manageable.
Of course, with the fact that Mind Control's now at top as well, it's going to make it a little harder for Ohio to farm against the caustic finale of the Sand King. Ohio just slithering across, keeping eyes onto Jarex, taking what they can from the side pool. They're still hanging around. At the same time, bottom lane there, maybe a bit of a fight here, and indeed, well, they've caught him out. Kuroki came down. Everyone headed down for the 6-minute rune, and Fnatic able to get the setup with DJ's disruption, get themselves the first blood. At the same time, top lane, Mind Control looking towards 3-4-3, but again, not quite enough burst with the crush. Mind Control could be in trouble. He keeps himself alive there, allowing them to turn it around. Very nice reaction from the Dead Prophet, getting himself involved up on the top lane, making sure that Fnatic don't get away with that aggressive plan.
So, something very important to note there, Jarex actually held his lift and let this Slardar crush, knowing that he wouldn't lose the Sand King, because if he lives before the crush and he sees the other hero coming around, maybe if he doesn't get that spell off, he thinks, okay, I can't get this kill, I have to run. But because he held on to the telekinesis for so long, he ends up baiting 2 heroes into death. That was like the most next level patient play. So good.
And the thing is, being Jarex, I mean, it really is a name that we've banded around a lot this tournament, as he has time and time again come out with very impressive maneuvers.
The Dire's top tower is doing its best.
As soon as the draft came out, as soon as we saw those Arubic, I was already a little bit excited, because we can certainly expect as the game goes on for some very, very, very fascinating plays to come out from Jarex. Same time, bottom lane, Fnatic. Looks like they'll find themselves the tower. Kuroki unable to get the deny, so more money into the pocket of Mushi, as he continues to have this very strong start on the Luna. And it's going to be interesting to just see how Fnatic are able to utilize this and how Liquid are able to respond. Let's get the crush shot to the Timberman. Level 7, of course, he's already got the song, so it's going to be a hard kill if Fnatic do try and go for it, especially with the fact that they have an Undying there, but not enough lockdown really. Take down Anaga, and there'll always be TP reactions coming in from Liquid we can expect if anyone dives the tower on the Timberman. The Timberman indeed at the lead.
Middle lane.
Oh, indeed, Fada versus mid 1. Mid 1, can he play his way around this with Mushi's presence? It looks like they can, and Searing Chains, they'll do it. Fnatic, again here, finding some action on the mid lane from a very active Luna. I mean, this is Bushi TPing over to help out at 8 minutes in. It allows them to get the job done.
I mean, they had vision and they knew that the Ember was maxing Searing Chains, so when you go that build, you really want to try to punish. And that's something, too, that's really cool about how Fnatic are playing this. They recognize that Death Prophet is a hero that needs to be ganked, and Ember is really good at setting up for kills, even with unconventional ganking, like safe laners, for example, like Luna teleporting in.
Bottom, Mind Control, burst strike into Kuroki's torrent, but the disruption coming out just in time for DJ, and he's going to go for the straight TP out. He's forgot about the Xbox, though. It's not going to work. DJ was looking for the plays. It's not going to happen. As just a bit of a misread there of Kunkka's skill set.
That was a nice attempt for DJ. He did pretty much everything he could in the situation to try to live at top. There, Jarex is just like, he needs a team right now.
He does. Fnatic diving past tier 1, and team is certainly on his way, but at the same time, coming out from Mushi, burst down 1. Jump forward, look for Jarex, and they'll get it as well as Fnatic. Diving tier 1s at this stage of the game, taking down that high value kill on the Timberman and getting a Jarex reading as well to boot. Certainly worth it. At the same time, Fada looks to finish off the tier 1 mid with the Exorcism. Mushi's come in, see if he's able to get the deny or such.
He doesn't have his ult anymore, so.
Easy CS from Mushi. Takes it away from Fada.
Fnatic are
Dire
playing
has
very well in
fortified
this
its
early game.
structures.
The rotations are on point. You know, Ohio's obviously had a pretty good
Dire's
start,
top
and we
tower is
mentioned
under attack.
how big of a difference there was
that's
between
not
Ohio and
Radiant's
the
bottom
Sanking
tower is
offlaner.
under
You want to
attack.
talk about how good
I feel
Cosmic
sad
Finale
for
is?
them.
Mind Control's actually ahead of him right now in net worth. That's like ridiculous. The guy was level 1 for like 4
Radiant's
minutes.
Yeah,
bottom
3
tower
minutes
is
in,
under
I
attack.
think he had 8 XP. And at the same time, bottom, the Xbox into turret, set up onto DJ, Burrow strike onto 2 with the Titan. It's not enough damage to the epicenter. That certainly will help out again. DJ putting himself on the board, keeps himself alive, 3-4-3, gets the 2-man to KO. Ohio over the cross, Bravada. He's turned up as well, and Liquid, the Luna move in, Mind Control's got to be careful. In fact, he's going to go down to the poisonous DJ. Liquid losing 1. Fnatic still hanging around as the Amplify onto Fada. Mushi trying to close the gap. Hold back Fnatic though. Fada turning around with the sight, but he's going to get Ohio. He'll still go down. But at least he managed to bring something with him there. But overall still, Fnatic 2 for 1, and Mushi has just been so active. He's been up, down the map, and keeping himself at the top of the net worth. This is exactly how they need to be utilizing this Luna.
He realizes how important the early game is for both teams. And making sure that you're using those ghosts and not
Radiant's
getting an
top tower is
objective,
under
if he
attack.
dies for that, even if you're trading your offlaner, I think it's still fine. Like, Fnatic are more than happy to make that exchange any day of the week. The only thing that they're losing
Radiant's
out on
top
right now
tower
is
is
just
under
the
attack.
importance of towers. So obviously, Fnatic took the tier 1 in the offlane, which is okay. Is mid 1 here, looking for some kind of pressure.
Yeah, he's got a remnant out. So he's okay. Well, not be silenced. In fact, that may have...
He's okay, he's okay.
Yeah, he's good.
It's only level 1 silence, so it doesn't last nearly long enough.
Burrow strike already used. He wants to be careful, of course, at this point in game mid 1. Just 200 gold away from the booster travel recipe. Fnatic ready to look for some more action. Smoked up, ready to go. Mushi's just to be left up on the top lane to keep the pressure on. He has got Eclipse at the ready if Liquid come in for a defense. And that may be the plan for Fnatic, because they could look to head up top and see if anyone jumps on Luna. At the same time, a lovely pick for them would be finding Matuma Man in the jungle. See how Matuma Man reads the situation, and indeed, well, he's cleared the
The
camp,
Dire's
so
top
heads
tower
away.
is doing its best,
They won't be
but
able
it
to
doesn't
find the
look good.
Siren, but at the least just making space and keeping this top half of the map clear for Mushi to find another tower. Liquid themselves are smoked up. The only one left towards mid is mid 1. It's going to be hard for them to get a jump, especially with Jarek's
The
now
Dire's top
revealing
tower
himself.
is
So
doing
mid
its
1
best, but it
unlikely
doesn't
to put
look
himself
good.
in danger. At the same time, this wraparound from Fnatic could work out if they clip onto Liquid, but
Dire's
again,
top
Liquid
tower has
themselves,
fallen in battle.
they'll back away. No one's going to find the latch here, and there won't be anyone dying today. Just the top tower falling as Mushi continues to get more and more space on his Luna.
Now, Fnatic knew that middle was a bait for sure, seeing Jarek's mid. Like, there's no way Rubik just solo farming past the river when everyone else on the map is just gone. So they want to try to take an engagement, just recognizing
Dire's
their
top
strength. They
tower
have
is
enough dying
under
on their
attack.
team. He's got 2 points into Tombstone and Decay with the ulti available. So they just want to try to fight.
Liquid really trying to make something happen down here. They're coming into the jungle. In terms of getting a setup, they're pretty much relying on the Torrent and Kuroki, the long distance at the moment. Mushi, he's down here as well. In fact, Fnatic, they'd be happy to fight. They have Eclipse. Both teams just toying with each other here on the edge of vision. Mid 1, if he can get a change to that drop to begin, and he does onto Kuroki. The Torrent is being played with. They're not going to commit to the song, so they want to fight into this Liquid now. They're getting themselves out. So they will just use the song and disengage. They could just decide to play it safe, but Kuroki, DP was a little bit too long. He will be left behind. So Fnatic are still able to find something. More money into the bank of the Ember Spirit. And as we can see, this is certainly a very, very strong start for Fnatic as well, which is interesting to note as well. If we look back to the series yesterday, Liquid versus Newbie, every game, every early game, every laning stage was going the way of Liquid, but we're seeing today that Fnatic, they're just able to top them with their heroes.
A lot of the time, it's just because Fnatic were outnumbering the Liquid heroes. So the Sand King and the Kunkka, we saw it in a 2v2, not a 2v3. That's when they were playing against Newbie, and obviously it's much easier to win that lane in that series for Liquid than it is here.
Jarek's, he's been spotted out by the ward, and indeed Fnatic, they're going to close right back across the map, but he's got the remnants, he's good. Jarek's just teasing them there.
Death tags.
What a spell actually that happens. That's actually so useful.
It's
In this
Dire's
game, you
middle
don't
tower
die
is
like the
under
drop of a
attack.
hat. You get crushed or caught by the Ember Spirit, and you're normally just dead. So having that spell allows him to play a much more aggressive fashion and maybe not give away as many kills.
Dire's
as he
middle
has.
tower is all
It's
alone
great
in the
getting
world.
water as well.
Beam
As long as you
attack.
got one to back up to, you just walk over. As soon as you're in trouble, you're out. Oh, they have one. Dangerously close to Kuroki. They'll just set this up. Remnant onto Remnant action here. The Torrent is going to catch. If they got the lockdown, Microsoft coming in with the disruption. It's going to keep him alive. He comes back out the boat. Across. Mushi falling low. It could have been enough to kill Mind Control. They've got to keep Mushi alive.
So
Can he get himself out of the Torrent? Oh, doesn't matter because the Grip Swarm from Fada finishes him off. 1-for-1, but Demonic Purge from DJ. They'll close back in on Kuroki. Fnatic making it 2-for-1. Looking to come in. Ultra Fire. James in there. 3-4-3 closing it as well. They'll take down another. 3-for-1 trade. Again favoring Fnatic. Obviously unfavorable to them and the fact that they lose Mushi, but still the numbers greatly favoring them here in these fights. 10-for-5, 15 minutes in, keeping a very strong lead.
Fnatic are doing such a good job at pressuring while they realize that Mind Control still does not have Blink Dagger. And he misplayed that fight pretty badly. He goes to stun in while the Eclipse is still channeling, and keep in mind, he doesn't have any points in a Sandstorm. This is just total normal Sand King build nowadays. And he tried to epi after the burrow, but he was standing right next to an Eclipsing Luna, which obviously is not going to end very well for you. So he was unable to really utilize his ultimate in that situation, and the rest of the team fight from that point on is just a little bit too chaotic for Liquid to recover from. And obviously they didn't have Song again, so Matuma Man didn't want to come to the fight knowing that he wouldn't be able to save anyway. So Fnatic again, very nice opening, punishing Liquid very hard.
And Pool's certainly going to start running even harder here in favor of Fnatic with the Blink nearly done on Ohio, sitting about 1900 gold, so just around the corner for Slardar. And then these fights are going to get even riskier for Liquid. As we saw though, Matuma Man, he's just about got the money for the relic. Korea's already in position, so he'll have that first hurdle tackled.
Radiant's
Still, of
bottom
course,
tower
Liquid
is
needing a
under
bit more
attack.
time for the full Radiance to come out, for them to have a bit of a better shot in these fights. Nice one towards the bottom there. Liquid getting in position. Mind Control to set up as Jared's closing the gap. Oh, he's got the stolen Eclipse. Of course he has, but it's not enough damage though. Maybe 3-4-3's in trouble. Jumping from our own 2-man drop. It's gonna get Jared potentially trying to get himself away from the zombie, but they finish him. Bottom with the ult, they'll take 3-4-3. Can they get themselves anything else though, Liquid? You see DJ already coming in, fending them off the zombies though.
Double
So
kill.
many issues for them. Ohio jumps in again. They'll get Mind Control. Amplify that bottom, trying to get himself away with the TB. Just about makes it, but Kuroki looks like he's not going to be as lucky as Mushi. Ohio and DJ surrounded in the tree line. Find a third and Fnatic. Once again with their fights here, just punishing Liquid so heavily.
But we can see the opening here, and the Eclipse gets popped. The Flame Guard eats a pretty good chunk of the damage, and it's enough for Mid-1 to be able to get the Sleight of Fist off and just go back to his Remnant. And a nice 2-man crush here coming in from Ohio. The big thing is the Torrents here, they both kind of just whiff. The second one I think that Kuro throws out also doesn't make contact, so that's also a fairly big deal. Didn't get the X full combo off.
Zombies.
Mind Control, yeah. He's amped up, so you can't Sandstorm at that point. You're just going to get chased down. And Fnatic have pretty much already won this engagement.
I mean, Fado was very lucky to get away with his life there.
Yeah.
If he'd gone down as well, that would have been even more of an insane win for Fnatic at that bottom lane. Loses now done on Fado, so he'll be a little bit more elusive to take down in these fights. And Matuma Man was just keeping himself out of harm's way. He's only been taken down the once this game. And as we can see, just 1k behind the two leaders of Fnatic, Mushi and Mid-1, which, considering the amount of action that's happening, it's pretty impressive for this pre-Radiance Naga. And he will have that done very, very shortly. And then, of course, we're going to get to that point where the question is just asked, have Fnatic done enough to slow down the progression of Liquid's Naga Siren lineup?
I think for now they've done plenty, especially since Mushi's going for the quick BKB. Like, he wants the BKB to be able to force objectives. You know, once a Naga Siren gets Radiance, the one problem of their lineup on Fnatic is that they don't really have good sustain, so you want BKB to be able to fight around objectives and just get the full map away from Liquid as fast as you can. Because that makes the Naga Siren's job a heck of a lot harder, because then you have to push the waves much, much further, and it obviously allows you to farm the map in a much more effective fashion. But smoke here from Liquid.
So they can do, they still have a little bit of time before Fada has the Exorcism back online, so fighting without the Ghost, see if they can get the wrapper in. We'll get a ward down. They will be able to tackle Fnatic from the side on from this angle. 3-4-3, maybe the ones up front, and indeed they will jump immediately onto a dime. The defensive disruption now higher with the crush up to 3 on the back line. As 3-4-3 still gets hit by the play, but he's keeping himself alive and finally goes down. So Liquid will get the pick. Mushi comes in with a BKB and the Eclipse trying to chase down Kuroki. One more Lucid Beam and a couple of zombies on the backside. They'll do it. Mid-1 comes in, cuts down Mind Control. They've taken themselves to Ohio. Wants to continue the fight going. Gets the jump on to fight. Amplifies out. One was holding back mid one, and there's the song from Matuma just in time. It's going to allow Fada and Jarrett to get themselves out. Matuma
He's gonna get chased.
Pulled out though. Matuma may have paid with his life there. Ohio indeed jumps in, catches him out. Matuma may have saved two, but at the cost of his own life.
That's actually not worth it at all for him. Like, he needs to be the one who's not dying in this game. Even if, you know, Liquid are losing these 4v5 engagements when Fnatic are throwing in all of their ultimates and stuff, it's kind of expected to a certain degree. It's just the Naga needs another item or two before she's really going to start to come online. And those deaths, even after you've already lost the team fight, make it even worse. So Fnatic are just doing such a good job of controlling the pace of the game. The rotations from Mushi early on did so much work as well.
And with the way that the game's going in terms of pace for Fnatic, do you imagine we could see Fnatic, obviously with the Luna, with the Amplifier from Ohio startup, maybe even looking for Roche out anytime soon, or is it still very risky against Liquid's lineup with the FP, with the Ghost? They've got so much control around the pit.
Yeah, rushing against Liquid is terrifying. If they have their ultimates available, I don't think you can do it. You need to take a fight first. And that's another reason, you know, why the BKB is so important. Obviously, Mushi wants to avoid all that magical damage, and if you have BKB, it means that you can actually push in the tier 2s, because you don't want Liquid being able to react very fast. You either want to take a team fight and win, and then maybe go Roche, or take an objective, maybe Liquid split the farm and Ohio here.
Yeah, he's got eyes on the Timberman. He's trying to bring in the rest of the team, but the Timberman
I feel sad for them.
thinks he's safe. He's not going to suspect the fact that Ohio's got his invis room.
Booyah.
If he gets the jump on,
Radiant's
so
bottom
much trouble.
tower
Ohio's
is
still
under
trying to
attack.
close around behind the tier 2s. He knows that Timberman's going to be going for this cap, and indeed he'll take a jump into the crush. He's a bit of follow-up control. Then Timberman's starting to walk away.
Dire's
He
middle
will be able
tower
to
is
get
under
himself
attack.
just out of
It has
halfway
no
at the same
arms to
time.
defend
Liquid
itself.
may look to fight back here, coming around, but Kuroki, he's caught very live at this one, and the Kuka's down. Now jumping in, mind control, gets the Cryo Strike onto one, silence for Fada onto two. DJ falling low, but he's not going to quite fall down. And Mushi manning over the BKB, mind control to full, red the fall from him. He's looking for more shades onto Fada. Jared Fada uses himself on the She's out. Triple kill for mid one. And Fnatic absolutely crushing Liquid in the first 20 or so minutes of this game.
It has no arms
The
to
Zender
defend
Spirit pick is
itself.
doing a tremendous amount of work for them. Like, he's been so active, been involved in 15 out of the
Dire's
20
middle
kills for his
tower
team.
is all
He's just
alone in
been
the world.
everywhere he needs to
Being
be,
attacked.
being able
Dire's
to chase down
structures
these
are
extra heroes.
fortified,
And once a
just
starter
like
has
me.
Blink Dagger like Ohio, he can just chase down anyone. Having the
Dire's
amplify
middle
damage
tower
means that
is
Sang
under
King
attack.
can't really escape. That's one thing about
Dire's
the hero that
middle
makes him
tower has
very
fallen.
good. Is we haven't really seen as much Slardar on the main stage as we did during the group stage. So when people aren't picking that hero, there's nothing really that can chase down a Sang King. He just always is able to reinitiate, very similar to what a Slardar does in a fight. But Mind Control just keeps getting caught out. He's pretty much getting hunted by these heroes, and there's nothing he can really do about
Blessings
it.
upon a loyal warrior.
Because you know as well, you know, the way that the game's going, DJ, he's picked up a gem, and how much does map control mean for Fnatic in any game like this against Liquid?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, map control is amazingly important no matter what lineup you are, but especially when you're playing against a Naga. If you can keep all the lanes pushed in against a Naga, you pretty much won, because that's how Naga wants to play the game. She doesn't necessarily want to take straight up fights.
One's got a DD. This could get painful. Fada comes too close. You can see Ohio already looking for the backliners. Gets a latch up to chance. In they go. A quick slide from mid one and another kill onto this Ember Spirit's tally. Mid one at the moment, 907. 12k net worth. It's been an incredible game for Ember Spirit so far.
Fnatic just did a brilliant job of laning this too. Like, so many things they did right this game, recognizing that Liquid wouldn't really be able to react to a defensive tri-lane.
Fada's got to be careful. I mean, he's coming out to farm this way. Looks like he will be okay. I mean, Ohio is just on the brink of maybe finding an opportunity to jump in. But how do you now stop this if you're Liquid? As you said earlier on, looking at the draft, they do have wave clear. They do have ways of slowing down pushes from Fnatic. And at the same time, are we going to see, you know, a timing hit where, you know, Fnatic, they do need to keep pushing. They do need to break high ground by a certain point of this game.
Well, the big issue for Liquid right now is the fact that they're very far behind. It's not like a little bit, they're super far behind. So what happens is the Naga Siren needs more items for her illusions to become tanky enough to reliably push out waves. That's like the one thing they can do to kind of delay this. But the problem is you're against a Luna and a Shadow Demon, so they're going to eventually start using the disruption to just slowly chip away at your tier 3s once Fnatic take the remaining tier 2s. And once your base is exposed, if you haven't gotten enough farm in that time, then what's going to happen is you're just going to watch
the
your
Dire's
maxes die.
bottom tower doesn't even have
That's
arms to
pretty much
defend
how this
itself.
goes
What a
down if
brave
Liquid
tower.
don't find something.
At the moment, Fnatic putting on the pressure down bottom.
Dire's
So they
bottom
don't
tower
want to
has
react to
fallen.
that yet.
It
They
was a
may
valiant
have be
effort.
forced to
The Radiant should really do
if this
something
push
about that
continues.
middle
It
tower.
looks to be the intentions of Fnatic. TP talking through from Jax, but he's still going to need a bit more backup to hold this one. Mind control as well coming in.
I mean, this is one set of illusions, and the power is going to drop to like half HP. And the issue is it's no commitment from Fnatic at all to do that. They're even feeling so confident that they're just going to TP back and stop the pushes in the other lanes. To this point, they've only lost 2 tier 1s. Like, everything about this game from Fnatic has been very impressive.
Are we expected to see any other big item pickups soon from Fnatic before they may go for a high ground push? Do they feel comfortable that they can sit back and continue to farm and wait for something else?
I think BKB and Slardar would be pretty big. It's not like he's super far off right now. He's already got the Ogre Club and 1500 gold, so Ohio may be looking for that before they want to try to go for the base push. And obviously getting Roshan is going to be something that they're thinking about too. But it's still kind of dangerous because all it takes is one well-placed song and somebody can steal the Aegis if you're not ready, if you just try to sneak it, and if you take a team fight. Since at this point there's only one BKB actually finished, Epicenter can still turn it. So they're respecting Liquid a lot here, not going for the risky play, just going for the safe stuff and making sure they're, getting their core items before they go for an objective.
The Dire's top tower is doing its best.
Fnatic continue to look for these objectives. Tier 2, it's in their eyes at the moment. We can see a sweet round from the rest of the team to cut off any kind of entrance that the people want to make into their jungle.
Oh, that's got to hurt.
We'll be able to find this one. At the same time, Liquid is down here. They've got a three-way push round to tier 2. It looks like themselves, they don't want to come out and try and pressure this one as of yet. So Fnatic will get a tower and they'll lose nothing in trade.
Has fallen. It was only a matter of time.
Yeah, I think Fnatic just want to make sure that they're not giving anything to Liquid here. Like, taking the tier 2 is great, but taking the tier 2 and defending your own tier 2 is even better. So I think they most likely just try to stop Liquid here in the bottom lane.
This is about 700 gold before Ohio has his BKB complete. Everyone will certainly be able to think about picking up his next damage item. He's actually picking up a mithril hammer here. So what is the build from everyone? Not going for that crit max.
Might be a Deso, I guess. It's
to help with the push.
It's not like completely unheard of, and it's also good for rushing if you already have a Slardar amp on your team.
You don't feel he feels the need to get a BKB himself this game?
That could also be BKB, yeah. BKB probably is better, honestly. It's just very... I guess he buys that first because it's the more expensive item and he still wants to be able to save money for buyback, so... Yeah, that makes sense. Probably BKB.
Usually going to get a nice little boost of power to the ult. Level 16 now hit on the Luna. So we could see some kind of a push coming out in the bottom lane. Liquid did come out a little bit, just hiding in the tree line on Jerax and Kuroki. Unlikely to want to play on their own unless one of the squishies comes out on Fnatic. That's not going to be the case. I mean, both the Undying and the Spirit 343 and Mid 1 in the neighborhood. Also, Ohio, in fact, on the Slardar. In fact, they could make a jump onto Jerax if they want to, especially with Mid 1 coming in as well. Jerax has got to be careful. Managed to take away the Amplify. Mid 1 jumps in, just a sight. I mean, already half the damage, but it's a bit of a bait. Mid 1, Saya stuck. They've actually managed to catch him out here. Can he live through this long? There's a lot of control coming through, and Liquid, the bait is successful. They'll take an Ember Spirit Killer, make May and be able to find more. Boris Strike under 3-4-3, surrounding up the defensive disruption. We'll get 3-4-3, a little bit of a target day, but Saya stuff taken down. Double kill for Fada, and Liquid looks like they're not done here. The song to look to set up to more. Torrent, both coming out to DJ, but the timing's off. And DJ's allowed to get himself out with a blink. But still, Liquid getting themselves 2 big kills. They'll look to push up to the tier 2. We'll see what Fnatic want to do with this 3-hero lineup that they've still got. Like Mushi does have Eclipse available. And that's how Liquid realize with what they've committed, they'll just back up. And all in all, a very nice play, and Fnatic just getting baited and pulled out there.
Now those kills are still really big for Liquid, even though they're not able to really get an objective off of it. Their team is also, it's too slow of a Roshan team, I think, to try to go for this. The Ember is going to be respawning too quickly, but yeah, that's still pretty decent. You know, it lets the Naga Siren get a couple more minutes of farm, not having to worry about Fnatic going to Roshan, and your lanes are actually pushed out relatively well. They're at the river at least, if not further. The more time they can buy right now for the Naga Siren, the better.
And as we saw there, of course, the fact that Fada was able to end the godlike streak of Mid 1. A lot of money, once again, put into the Steph Properties pockets as Fada continues to try and catch up with the lead farmers at the moment in this game. And of course, that top spot being held by Matuma Man with his Radiance Naga. Mid 1 still trying to finish in on that next item. Fnatic probably not going to want to fight until he has that BKB done. He's got the money for it. It's
Radiant's
extended it
middle
out.
tower is under
And
attack.
second pick by Mushi, so the
Not gonna
push, the
hold.
illusion-based lineup getting stronger and stronger. But Liquid certainly seem to have been able to kind of slow the pace and get the tempo back into their own hands. And they're probably feeling a little bit more comfortable with the way that this game's panning out now at this stage, now that they've managed to find that big fight to keep Fnatic down.
Well, the thing that becomes a bit scary for Liquid is the fact that everyone now has BKB
The Radiant
completed.
should really do something
So
about
it's
that
gonna be
middle tower.
very, very hard to kill him like that twice. You need a really good stun into a Conquertorin and a boat and make sure that it's stacked perfectly, otherwise he's just going to BKB and run away. The other thing too now is with those BKBs finished, that makes 3, so Ohio now has his, that's 2 10-second BKBs, and Mushi's right now I think is at like, what, 7 or 8? Yeah, 8 seconds. They can even fight around the pit at this point.
And you can see on this bottom lane, Fnatic just coming in. And Liquid do have the full team around, but very much respecting the power of Fnatic at this stage and keeping themselves out of harm's way. And it will be very interesting to see when a team does decide to enter into the pit. Up top, towards the mid, eyes onto mid one, but as we said already, Blink BKB a very hard catch for Liquid to be successful with.
Yeah, they're feeling confident with their BKBs. They're just going to go for it.
Let's see what they can do to stop. They do have Song available from a Timmerman, so they could certainly look for some sort of a play, but we can expect BKBs to maybe be used preemptively even by Fnatic as Roshan falls low to make sure the kind of sneaky play can come out for the side of Liquid. Fnatic already getting down Roach to half health, but Liquid, of course, very much interested in getting themselves involved, keeping themselves near the pit, not too near though, to make sure the Fnatic themselves can't jump up to the high ground and get a latch on.
Well, the problem right now is that Fnatic actually had vision around the pit. Liquid know that, so they're sitting in a way where they're not giving their position away, but yeah, they can't contest this. They've taken way too long. They don't want to take the risk of fighting into multiple BKBs.
This is the right decision for Liquid. There's no need to risk a fight like that.
I feel like if they lose that fight and they lose Roshan, the game is almost insurmountable at that point in favor of Fnatic. So I think it's the lesser of two evils to defend your high ground when you have Naga Siren and you have really good deep push than it is to try to fight.
I mean, with the squad that Fnatic had out here, they know that Liquid have headed back over to this half of the map. And Kuroki could be the one to front this attack, but looks like he just managed to keep himself out of Vision's way. Fnatic though still continues to move over. Jarrett's TPing out. He should, no, it doesn't quite make it. Ohio, just in time to catch the retreating Rubik. So they do get a pick, and at the same time the mid lane's being pressured in.
For the Radiant.
And Fnatic 22 for 10, certainly keeping good control of this game.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Pretty much
It
a
has no
clinic put
arms
on
to defend
here
itself.
by Fnatic. The laning phase was fantastic. Mid 1 played very solidly throughout the entire game. Wushi's rotations were also great. Just everything seemed to click. They were communicating well. They knew what they wanted to do. They've just been putting on a show.
Let's see how heavy they want to go in here. Mushi with the Aegis at his disposal. Illusion's already coming in. Mind control clearing them out. Mushi still feeling the power to come in, and with that extra range of the Dragon Lance, getting a few touches in on the tower. Top lane's being forced in by mid 1, so Fnatic trying to keep the pressure onto Liquid, all lanes across the map. And now mid 1 comes across. Looking to join the fight.
This is a really bad position for Liquid. You never want your Naga Siren to be in the base.
Which on the comes to Mushi, there's a cross with the mind control, gets shot back, but they'll still catch out the SK bullets. And all the Sandstorm manages to get himself out of harm's way. He's looking to set up on mid when he tried to go for the slide of fist to finish up mind control, but couldn't quite reach him. And Liquid able to keep everyone alive there after Fnatic make a bit of a bite onto them. But as we can see already, significant amount of damage done to this tier 3 in the mid lane. At the same time, Altering pretty much indeed done by Matumbaman, so they are certainly going to be capable of pushing back out all these lanes. And Liquid have got a good shot at buying time to allow their heroes to get to a point where they can tackle Fnatic on a full 5-on-5 in a team fight.
It's a bit unfortunate that Fnatic were forced out in that fashion, because Matumbaman was not where he wanted to be. Typically when a push is happening like that, you don't really want to have to be sitting in base because you want your illusions, you know, pushing other lanes, cutting the wave, making it so Fnatic have to go back and address you, but because of a little bit of over-aggressiveness there from Fnatic, they do lose out a bit.
Radiant's top
And
tower
Liquid
is
are going
under
to
attack.
make a little bit of a movement towards top, try to get something. Off lane tier 1, it's not the most useful tower in the
Radiant
world, but at
structures
least
are
it's gold
fortified.
going their way.
That means you can't hurt him right now. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Again, as we can see from
About
Fnatic,
time.
looking for a sweep through the jungle of Liquid. Matuma already out of there though.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
We know that
Radiant's
Liquid are
top
putting
tower
4 heroes
has
to the
fallen.
test up top, pushing down that top lane. TP back out though, so looks like Liquid don't want to try and commit for a tier 2 push. They know that they are going to be required back at the pace when Fnatic wants to go in again. And at the moment, it's just spamming the illusions out. It's been doing the job so far. And it's going to bring that tier 2 very close to going down.
I mean, Fnatic can sit outside of their base and pretty much do this all day, assuming the heroes have
Radiant's
health.
top tower is under
Gucci
attack.
he obviously has the Aegis, but if the illusions are low on HP, they die with fast.
Again, getting the crush on mind control, but as we can see, he just allowing mind control to jump out, clear the way, and we pull back. Tar, he's going to catch on the move, but Mid1 actually jumps. See him, what's he doing? He's been caught out. Mid1, not in the position that he needed to be. And this might really hurt them. There's going to DB a buyback from him, getting himself back in on the fight. Song coming out. See if they can do anything with it. They lock down Mid1, but already the rest of Liquid are backed up, and Mid1 chaining up Matuma creating the space for Mushi to push in. He's lost one of his lives. Fortification will come out, Liquid. You need to pull something off it to stop Fnatic beginning the rack. Mid1 jumps in again. This Ember is incredibly aggressive to deal with the cross. He'll be able to do it. 2 down, 3 down, 3 buybacks from Liquid. Putting everything they've got into this defense. I mean, if Fnatic could get them again with the cross, Ohio can turn back on mind control. Fnatic, if they get themselves a couple more kills here, it's going to be absolutely huge. They'll keep the pressure on. Liquid take 3 for 3. Mushi, X-Mark showing no getting even the defensive disruption and Ohio.
Mega kill.
To vanish and dive back on fire. 2 knockbacks,
Double
3
kill, killing
knockbacks on
spree.
Liquid. And Fnatic, they really are doing it here. Liquid, in what seemed like a huge play of frustration, just throws all their resources into that one defense. And Fnatic now clear out the mid lane. They head towards the bottom. Only Matuma Man left to defend.
Tower has fallen.
Man, Ohio.
Oh man.
He was just unbelievable there, getting a 3-man crush, just reinitiating over and over again. Liquid just are out of sorts right now. They can't do anything about this Slardar. And even Mid1 not popping his BKB when he went in the first time, you could have even said that was somewhat of a bait because he can buy back right away. He already has so he can just be back in the fight at the drop of a hat. And that's a double set of racks for Fnatic. Liquid yet to have an answer for any of the aggression that they've been shown this game.
And Mushi, Satanic done as well. He's still got 3k gold on top of picking that Satanic up. This game has gone to absolute pop for Liquid, and Mid1 jumping in with Jarex to mind control. Jarex is gone. Liquid still holding in. But the question is, for how long is Fnatic looking to finish off the final set of racks on this top lane? Liquid will have a full team back up fairly shortly. And Fnatic will respect that. Backing away, backing up. I mean, they've got to feel very comfortable with the position that they've managed to get themselves into. 37 minutes in, 30-12, 2 full sets of racks taken from Liquid. This is going to be a very hard game for Liquid to climb back into.
Hard would be an understatement, I think. Honestly, that Shadow Demon has more net worth than the mid-death profit on Liquid. That's the state of affairs that we are in right now. He can just blink in with his BKB on, just cast Demonic Purge on somebody, Soul Catcher somebody else, and like most of the damage coming out from the side of Liquid is magical outside of just the ghosts, really, and the auto attacks from the Naga Siren, so it's not really like he has to worry about anything else. BKB is actually incredibly strong this game in the sense that it kind of solves all your problems with just one purchase. Where if you look at what Fnatic has, it's much harder to itemize against their team because they have a good split of damage, whether it be physical or magical. So take Death Prophet for example, a hero that he had to buy Yule's BKB and then Plate Mail to feel even a little bit safe. And even with those items, it still becomes very, very squishy if the starter gets an amp out because it's just minus 20 armor with one cast.
Fnatic getting away, push round, getting ready for that potential final push onto the high ground of Liquid space. With themselves, trying to come out, keep these waves back out elsewhere, making it a little bit harder for Fnatic to just control Liquid and force them into a position. But already some of the TP's coming back out. Fnatic, they have the wave at the ready. And ready to go for this push. Liquid needs something huge to defend this one. Mind Control tried to come in. Ohio jumps in onto Mind Control. He's gone. Looking for Matuma Man. Disrupted up by DJ. Looking for the setup into the growth. There it is. They've lost it all. Buyback Matuma Man, Liquid, they need a bit of a miracle to hold on to this one. The Ghost will come out for Fighter, but mid one, Slayer fisting, chaining up the Kuroki, holding him back. And again, looks like Fnatic with that first burst, just again holding back, only for seconds though as the next creep wave comes through. You can see Fnatic going in heavy again. They know there's no Sand King for this defense. There is still a song available. Exorcism has already been used though. As Liquid really falling short on the tools required to hold back Fnatic. Mushi with the illusions, just focusing the racks. Looking to get those objectives complete.
No, wait,
Matuma
let's
Man just
top barracks.
can't do enough on his own. Trying to push this out. Jax will jump in. There's a trying to go again. He's crushing. Every time. 4 dead. 5 and Liquid are doing it. 37
Double kill.
Fnatic.
There be a radiant
Playing
stars.
absolutely top class Dota here on the main stage. Coming into this series, a lot of people would have looked at Liquid's performance so far here in the main event and said, should be relatively easy, but Fnatic, they have a strong draft, and they just played the better game though.
That was probably one of the most solid games I've seen them play the entirety of TI Fnatic. That was just an incredible performance from pretty much every single one of the teammates. Like, it's hard to say which person played the best on Fnatic, because I feel like you could easily get MVP to Mushi, DJ, Mid1, or Ohio. They all did pretty much exactly what they were expected to do. They were super aggressive. They knew what their lineup was meant to accomplish at every stage in the game. And Liquid, I think the biggest shortcoming of their lineup was they just couldn't really make anything happen with the Sand King and the Kunkka for a very, very long time. Like, when we saw that matchup yesterday against Newbie, it wasn't against a Trilane, of course. It was against 2 heroes, and it created a ton of space, applied a lot of pressure to the safe lane. But this time around, Fnatic are ready for it. They commit 3 heroes. Ohio has a pretty easy safe off lane. He has a Rubik and a Naga. They pretty much can't kill him.
Yeah.
So eventually, they had to put Matuma Man in the jungle just so Mind Control could recover his just super slow early game. And I think that's kind of where things started to fall apart. And after that point, Fnatic were just pressuring nonstop.
I mean, how much of this would you put down to the draft then?
I think maybe there was a better way if, maybe Mind Control started with a Talon. If he knew that it was going to be like a defensive tri-lane, he might have been able to do a little bit more, get a faster blink and have some more impact. But because of the fact that he went level 1 Caustic and went into that lane where he could pretty much get nothing, that like crippled him. Like for 4 or 5 minutes, he was just, more or less useless. And it's not really his fault, it's just the state of the game. So I think it's not necessarily the heroes themselves, but where they had to go and the skill and itemization choice that hurt them a lot.
Absolutely. Well, obviously with this way that Fnatic have come in, taking the first game, Liquid losing out, and maybe a bit of it down to a draft issue. We saw yesterday, Liquid had draft issues in game 1 against Newbie, but then Kuro was really able to sort it out in game 2 and game 3. We'll see if that's going to be the case. We'll be able to bring the panel back in, though, to hear on your thoughts on just an incredible performance from Fnatic in game 1.
Yeah, fantastic performance. And as you rightly said, I mean, it's a question of whether Kuroki can correct the troops like he did yesterday. We'll see whether they can do that in game 2. We'll come back to you then. Thank you very much for game 1. Back on the panel.